Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Rory Story Cubes, and today we're going to do 3 more stories, and we're going to, well, get a whole bunch of dice together, of course, to make those stories. I put them in a slightly larger bag this time, so there shouldn't be so much noise, and it should be easier to grab the dice. Let me just grab a few of them. Like this bunch. How much is this? That's 4, that's 7, we need 2 more. This one and that one. Right, here they are. Okay, I'm gonna roll a bunch of them and let's see what we get. Once again, of course, once we are done putting them in a line over here, you can make sure to pause the video and come up with your own story as per usual. I'd like to read them in the comments below. Here come the first 5. Even my voice is shaking. Right, here we go. This is a satellite. We're gonna put you right over here. And this is somebody who has the measles or smallpox or something. It's not good. This is a walking cane. This is Icarus. And this is Zeus. Well, nice that these two are together. Here come the next 4. Up. A raven, a house, and 2 people being measured, and a black cat. So, once again, make sure to pause here. And make sure to leave your story in the comments below. Make sure to do all these things just as long as you make sure, okay? I want to make sure that you know that you need to make sure. Got that? Good. Alright, let's take a look what we got here. I have a bunch of mythical things here that I could totally use. And a cat and a walking cane. Only thing I might have a problem with is this satellite. But who knows, we might be able to incorporate it somehow. Let's just get started. Now, let's see now. Most stories start with a once upon a time. And I might as well do that. Let's see. Once upon a time, there were 2 brothers on the 4th floor. And they had read a book on mythology and all that sort of thing, and it seemed really interesting. But usually in life nothing really happens, because it's just like whole stuff that exciting stuff is usually in the books and in the movies and all that sort of thing, but not in your neighborhood. And so they just they were a little bit disappointed a bit with real life because it was so dull. And one day they were sitting there watching TV, which was beamed down to their house via satellite. And there was a lightning storm, and they weren't really sure what was going on, because the weatherman had predicted clearer skies for the next 3 or 5 days. So they had no idea what was going on. But okay, you can't change the weather just by thinking that something else was predicted and make it go away. That doesn't work. So they just waited out. And the next day they went outside to find a black cat and a raven talking to each other. Now, seeing a black cat and seeing a raven in itself isn't that incredibly strange, but they usually don't talk, and when they do talk, which is never, they don't tend to talk to each other either, because they are natural enemies. But these 2 were talking to each other. And they found the 2 brothers standing outside the house, like so. Just put them like they're outside the house, see? And they looked at them, looked at each other, and they disappeared. Oop, just like that. And the 2 brothers were a little bit surprised by that. They scratched their head and they were like, I don't know what's going on here. It seems really strange, but I guess, I mean, if I were a talking creature, I probably wouldn't want to stick around people too much either, because I would probably get dragged to some lab and experimented on and all that sort of thing, because people would want to know how I'd learned to talk. So they thought it was probably for the best that the creature had disappeared. Of course, they did wonder about them, how they managed to be that intelligent to talk to each other. But then one of them got hit by a lightning bolt, straight from Zeus himself, and he got turned into a crow. And he didn't really, or raven, sorry, didn't really know what heck was going on. The other brother was like, I don't know what's going on here, but he tried to bring his brother back inside the house, because it was apparently really dangerous out there, even though Zeus couldn't hit anybody anywhere, but that's okay. They thought that maybe the house would give them some protection. And after a while, it turned out that the brother who was not a raven was actually allergic to the bacteria carried on the raven's wings. So he got measles out of it, which he didn't enjoy, as you can see. He's got a frowny face. But the raven, after a while, thought, well, if I'm making my brother sick, I might as well go away. So he flew off into the distance and thought, you know what, since Zeus apparently thinks that I need to be a raven, I'm just going to do all sorts of mythical things. I'm going to try to fly to the sun because I can. Alright, so that just left one brother over here. You'll have to ignore one of these two, just one of them right now. who lived to be a ripe old age. When he was like 98, he was still living in the same house because now that it was just him living there, he didn't really need to worry about having to move out when he got married and all that sort of thing, which of course eventually he did. And he was sitting outside on his porch when the raven landed. And he looked at it and he knew somehow that it was the exact same raven that was his brother at one point. And he started talking to the raven, and Raven didn't really talk back to him because he didn't really understand human speak after having spent so much time trying to get up to the sun and failing. So they had no conversation whatsoever. But then Zeus came back because he didn't want the raven to return home. That was the one condition that saved him from being immortal. And he, instead of zapping the raven for his punishment, zapped the other brother, who was previously sick from raven dust and all that sort of thing, and turned him into a black cat. And the explosion of the lightning bolt, like hitting them so suddenly, sent them back into the past. And they found themselves outside of this house. And they were like, that looks not like our house. What the heck's going on over here? I'm not really sure what's happening, but it does look like our house. As a matter of fact, do you remember that day? And as they were saying that, these two guys came walking out of the house, and they recognized them as being themselves from the past. So they thought, you know what? We need to get the hell out of here because this is too weird for words. And so they flew off and had lots of fun together somewhere else. Of course, you're seeing a loop here, and which is intentional because I didn't really know how it ends the story, so it doesn't really end. It just keeps going on and on forever and ever. And we didn't need a satellite at some point, which is always nice if you can combine something that does not appear to match any of the other things, or dice, as it turns out, at the start. Alright, so that was them. I'm going to put these guys aside. The never-ending story. I'm going to grab 9 more dice for the second story. This one took a lot longer than usual. It's like 7 minutes. What the hell? Usually it's about 5 for a story. I tend to have like 15 minutes worth of stories when I do 3 of them. Not today. Alright, I'm gonna grab these guys. How many do I have now? I can grab a lot more than I usually can now that's in a bag. That's 4, that's 6, 7 again. Alright, 2 more dice required for our story to take off. It's gonna be you and you. These two. Right, Hand and Wolf. Well, they do make a good combination. Let's go grab these, put them aside, and make sure to roll them. These first. There we go. There's once again a frowny face. We have what looks like a brain. Interstellar galactic shield thing, a fingerprint. Right, and this is a ray gun, which suits that one quite nicely. These 4 next. I was going to grab new ones, but I have 4 of them already. There we go. This is an amulet and a flame or a dragon, whichever you like. Don't really care. We'll put a flame here and we'll figure out what it is later. A syringe, because why not? And a bird cage. Alright, interesting. No idea what we're going to do with them yet. Why don't you pause the video here and give yourself a moment to come up with a story. Make sure to post the story in the comments below so I can read it and judge it accordingly. Very much I shall judge it. And now let's take a look what I can do with these. Let's see now. A long time ago, there was... let's make this one a dragon today. There was a dragon, and he flew freely, and he had no particular qualms actually because he was dragon. Most people didn't bother him because he was too tough for them. As a matter of fact, they ran away from him when they saw it because he was so dangerous. And that went on for many years until humanity actually caught up with them. Literally caught up with them because they caught him and put him in a cage. Now, the cage wasn't too strong, but it was strong enough to keep him in there for the time being, keep him subdued. But even the people knew, with their giant brains, that they wouldn't be able to keep him there for long. So, they invented some technology. For that, they require that he got an injection, which is a little bit difficult to do in a dragon who wants to eat you, so it took a little bit of time, honestly. But eventually, they managed to inject it into his tail, which was good enough. And then they had a ray gun, which they used to basically liquefy his essence and then capture it inside an amulet, just like this one. Now, why they used an amulet and not some type of high-tech prison, I don't know, because people tend to have a thing with diamonds and all that sort of thing. They really like to put stuff in amulets that they can wear around their necks. And sure enough, it became one of the trademark items of the human civilization out in the galactic space. As you can see here, it's the amulets. I should put it like this. There you go, that little bit there is this thing right there. It's like the emblem for the human civilization out in the galaxy was a dragon amulet, which of course was their one big thing or claim to fame. The last dragon inside the amulets. And that was actually very interesting for some of the races who wanted to know more about the dragons. And one night, the amulet was stolen, which was a gigantic intergalactic criminal affair because people didn't want a dragon to be out and loose. And the people who stole him actually managed to get him out of there because they wanted to know what it was like. But once they managed to free him, Dragon, of course, was very grumpy. They immediately regretted their situation because they got attacked and some of them got eaten or torn apart or something like that. And eventually they, too, had to admit that they could not contain the dragon and they waited for the humans to come and get him because they were the only ones who knew how this system worked. Oh, and this one too, of course. This one first and then that one. They almost didn't know how to do it because it had been so long since that happened, like one of those ancient technology things that they couldn't really quite explain. But someone managed to find a manuscript of the first person to ever perform this procedure, and they recreated it at long last. And eventually, he was once again inside the amulet, and the Human Federation, Galactic Federation, could continue to use its emblem with pride. And no one ever tried to steal the dragon again. Occasionally they called upon when Earth was under attack so they could have something to fight him. That, of course, was in the incredible circumstances where they had no other choice because containing him and doing this entire thing again was a bit of a hassle. But luckily it was not required often. So he was stuck inside of his amulet for many years. So that was the story of the dragon. There you go, that's the second one. I'm going to put these aside as well. Put them over here, where you can't see them. Ooh, they're off limits. Now let's go for the next line. This is, however many this is, looks like there's 6 of them here. That's the first 6. 3 more to go. You, and you. There they are. Alright, a little more Animalia dice today. Oh, there's a bit of a hair here. I don't like that. I don't like the hair. I'm going to put this aside for a second. Don't drop anything. That would make too much noise. Alright, let's see. The first 5. Here they come. An apple. A trap. A badger. No, not a badger. Raccoon, sorry. This is one of those theater masks things. This one is accusing someone. Next 4. J'accuse. There we go. A hamster wheel, or whatever you'd like to do with it. This looks like a treasure chest, like this would make more sense from your angle. A scarab, and some cogs. Alright, so pause the video here to come up with your own story, post it in the comments below. I'd like to read it. And if it's something that I really enjoy, I'll probably do a short dramatic reading of it. I haven't done that in a while, so I should probably do that at some point. Now let's see what I'm going to do here. We'll just start with our rooster friend over here. Rooster friend? What the heck am I going on roosters? It's a raccoon, but it does have an ooh sounded, so I guess that's why I went for a rooster. Never mind, our raccoon friend over here. It's a raccoon, not a rooster. He was once going around the forest, which is what he tends to do. He was looking for apples, because he eats those. I don't know if raccoons eat apples. They eat just about anything, don't they? They raid your trash cans and all that sort of thing. We don't have them around here, so I see videos of it sometimes, but apparently they might eat apples, I don't know. Let's just assume that this raccoon eats apples, and he was outside rummaging through some trash, which some people had left at a camping site in the forest. And unfortunately for him, he ended up running into a trap, which wasn't a gigantic bear trap like this, but like a smaller version that wouldn't exactly break his leg, but he wouldn't be able to go away either. And that meant he was stuck there until somebody came to get him. He was like, oh, there it is, there's the raccoon, grab it. And so they did. And they put him in a chest, and they took him away to civilization. Because there they had a very interesting theater going on. See, a theater right here. They didn't need animal actors or anything like that. Oop, I punched the table. Sorry about that. They didn't need animal actors or anything like that. They just needed a certain... how do I say this? They had a very unique way of powering their theater, because they had a theater that was so popular it needed people to basically work there 24/7, and it also needed a lot of electricity. So what they did, they would capture small rodents and slightly larger rodents like the raccoon over there, and they would put them in a hamster wheel, the size, or depending on their size, a slightly larger hamster wheel or a small one. They even had some that were small enough for beetles to crawl in, and all these creatures would run around chasing whatever their favorite food was, and therefore make sure that the theater would always have its power, and the gears would keep turning because they needed to have stuff going on stage 24/7. That's how popular the theater was. Now, after a while, PETA, of course, found out that they're not PETA from the Hunger Games. I'm talking about the organization that shelters animals. That all these animals were being abused by being put in these hamster wheels. This one as well. This is an insect, but it's still like considered, I don't know, endangered, or I don't know. I think scarabs are dangerous, aren't they? I thought they were dangerous. I'm not sure. They might bite? I don't know much about scarabs. Either way, PETA did still care about saving them because they were all stuck in these poor wheels. The wheels themselves were poor, of course. And so eventually they went and sued the theater. And after a while they won. So the theater had to actually close its doors because they couldn't afford the electricity bill that they would have to get. The coffers were not that full. The bill that they would have to pay, I meant not get. The bill they would get and they would have to pay if they would have to use conventional means of getting electricity, which is unfortunate. But then one day somebody figured out how to make a free energy device, and the theater was open once again, and it was a retro theater, and everybody enjoyed going there because it was now once again safe for animals, and people could go there with a clear conscience. So that was the 24/7 theater with animal labor, and then later not anymore. Alright, so that was all 3 stories. Hope you enjoyed them. Make sure to post your stories in the comment section below. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, and bye bye for now.